Okay, 533. So, we're gonna take. We've looked at arithmetic sequences, which is when they're written like this: individual numbers with little commas in between them, just listing all the numbers. When you put an addition or subtraction sign in front of the number, it is now called a series, and you can sum the series. Okay. So basically, okay, this is a famous math story. I feel obliged to just tell this story. This guy, name a mathematician? Everybody says Einstein. Einstein was not a mathematician. Einstein was a physicist. Okay, it's not the same thing. But he used a lot of math, and Einstein was very smart. Okay. However, this guy, Carl Gauss, is probably the greatest mathematician of all time. So the story about him is when he was 10 years old, I don't know if this story is true, but it gets told all the time, so I feel like I just need to tell you it. When he was 10 years old, his teacher basically to shut him up, said add all the numbers from 1 to 100. Right? Thinking that it's going to take, they didn't have calculators. This was back in 1777. All right. So they didn't have calculators. So you'd have to do it by hand. So it'd be like 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, all the way up. Okay. He did it in I don't know, super fast. And what he did was he took all the numbers from 1 to 100 and he added these together. He realized if I go 1 plus 100, I get 101. 2 plus 99, I get 101. 3 plus 99, I get 101. So basically, that's 101 plus 101 plus 101, blah, 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 blah. He did this when he was 10 years old, and he basically did it in his head. All right, and then came back to his teacher and told him it was 5,050. All right. Anyway, he went on to be one of the greatest mathematicians of all time. However, he was a bit of not a nice person. But I had it explained to me by somebody. They said, if you were as smart as him, right, and everybody else in the world would seem like they are, what's a kind way to say not smart? Okay? You would be annoyed with people if you were this smart and everybody else was just whatever. So he was pretty mean to a lot of people. All right? But I think it was just because he got so frustrated because he was so intelligent. Anyway, if anybody asks you to name a great mathematician, don't say Einstein, say Gauss. If they say name a great physicist, say Einstein or Newton. Newton wasn't a nice guy either. Something about mathematicians not being very nice. I don't know. Okay. Flip the page. We're not going to go through all that. 2 more formulas. All right. I'm not going to show you how you derive them. If you want to see where they come from, you come up, talk to me. We will go through this. I'll show you where they come from. But I'm just going to give them to you. You need to know how to use them to answer some basic questions. So here is the first formula. All right. What is A? First term. What is D? Common difference. And do you know what N is? Sorry? It's the number of terms. And the S, this S here, stands for sum. So sum, you're adding everything together. And SN means sum of n terms. So if I said S5, what am I asking for? How many terms are you adding together? 5, the first 5 terms. That's what it means. Okay? All right. There's two, so these are 2 different sum formulas. This one is sum as well. You have n, which is number of terms. You have a, which is the first term. And what is tn? Sorry? The last term. So the difference between these formulas is use the bottom one when you know the last term. And you use the top one when you know the common difference. And you don't know the last term. All right. Are we ready? Flip the page, please. Determine the sum of the first 14 terms of the arithmetic series, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so what is my n value? What's n? How many terms am I summing? 14. What's my a value? 9. What's my common difference? 6. So, which formula am I using? Top one or bottom one? Top one, because I know the common difference and I don't know the last term. This one, you have to know the last term. We don't know it. Thank you. Me too. All right, so write out the formula. Sn is equal to, and I don't even remember this formula. There we go. N times 2a plus n minus 1 times d over 2. That is the formula. Now just plug everything into it. N is 14. A is 9, so it's 2 times 9 plus 14 minus 1 times d, which is 6. And it's all over 2. All right. I'm going to freeze it, and you're going to punch that into your calculator because this unit is all about basically once you put it in, you know how to hit the right buttons and what order to hit them in on your calculator. So follow BEDMAS, please.
I wasn't at work yesterday, so I couldn't watch the video of the last lesson. So tomorrow I'm gonna watch both videos. I'm sorry, and I'm working on socials. It's due at 6 p.m. I'm panicking. I need to get 70 responses.
What do we get? Oh, sorry. What's more paper?
Maybe. I got cos, which is kind of close to secant, but
What times have you done it? There's part marks, right?
what?
There's part marks.
I know, but I don't know what classifies as part mark.
Get rid of double angles. Change everything to sine and cos. Combine fractions. Those are all part marks. All right, what's the answer? 672. Okay. Everybody get that? Okay. Next one. Determine the sum of 22 terms of an arithmetic sequence with T1 being negative 18 and T22 being 45. So, what's A? Negative 18. They tell us. What is N? 22. What other piece of information do they give us? They give us T22, which is the last term. So we're going to use that formula, right? Because we don't know the common difference, but we do know the last term, and we know N and A. Plug everything in. Let's see what we got.
I hope the Spanish shrinks. Remember this one? Or is this all one? That's all one. Oh.
All right. You got the right thing at the end. Just to make sure that you didn't just magically write cosecant. There's people that do that. They just write BS and then they just put the answer. Okay, what's the answer, peoples? 297? You want to do this instead?
I would actually love. Can that be another bonus mark?
Just do some pretend math.
I mean, I did have to write one for Keith. He read a note.
All right, we're going to do a couple more questions. Give me 1 sec. I got to write Aiden a note here.
I am looking very forward to next Friday.
EN, right?
AM.
Damn it.
I'm heartbroken.
Aiden was, how do you spell loitering? Loit?
Loitering, yeah.
Yeah. Who's your teacher?
Miss Olsen.
Oh, I like her.
You like her?
Yeah. Psych.
It's a long note.
Read it. See what she says. I'm sure I'll get an email back.
Alright, I'll let you know.
All right. Find the sums of the terms in the sequence. So, what's A? 17. What is D? Sorry? -5. We're going from 17 to 12 to 7, etc. So D is -5. I know the last term. It is -38. What piece of information do I not know that you need for either formula? N. I don't know what N is. So I can't use either formula yet. I need to know N. All right? And since I know the last term, the formula I want to use is this one. I want to use that formula because I know the last term. I know that. I just don't know what N is. So what am I going to do? How do I solve for N first? I need to find N first. What's the only other formula that we have? Anybody remember it? That's the only formula that we have, right? That's what we learned in the second lesson. I know A, I know D, and I know Tn. So if I plug it into there, I should be able to solve for N. So Tn is -38. A is 17. Whoops, plus. And that's -5. All right, solve for N. Algebra test. What's N? 12. Yes? All right, once you know N, plug into this one. And then tell me what that answer is. What do we get? -126? Does that make any sense to add to get a negative number if you're adding them all together? Does it? Does it or not? Like, does that number make sense? It does, right? Because what's happening is we're taking away 5, right? Or is it 5? Yeah, 5. We're taking away 5 every time, and then we're adding all these numbers together. So positive, positive, positive. Next one will be positive, and then everything after that's going to be negative, right? So when you add a whole bunch of negatives together with only a few positives, you'll get a negative number. All right. This is the last new question of Math 10. Are we sad? No, you're probably like, good riddance. All right, here we go. We're earning 16,000 per annum. Does anybody know what per annum means? Per year. Fancy way of saying per year. All right. Receives an annual increase of $850. He works for the firm for 12 years. How much does he earn in his 12th year? What is his salary in his 12th year? So he starts at 16, and then he's going up by $850 per year. So what's the A value? 16,000. What is the D value? Positive 850. How many years? So N is. So how much does he make in his 12th year? We're asking for the term now, right? I want to know how much he makes in that 12th year. So actually I'll write the formula first. Tn is A plus N minus 1 times D. Plug in everything you know. T12 will be times 850. Then tell me how much he makes, please. $25,350. All right. Here we go. Last thing. How much does he earn in total over the 12 years? So what am I asking for there? The sum. I'm asking you to add up his salary from each year. So we know that N is equal to 12. We know A is equal to 850. Or no, not A is equal to 850. A is 16,000. What else do we know? We know the common difference is 850. That's what I wanted to say. And do I know the last term? Yeah, you just calculated it, right? So I could just say T12, or Tn if you wanted to call it that, is 25350. All right. So you know everything. You have a choice in between formulas because I know N, A, D, and the last term. So you can either use this formula or this formula. Which one do you want to use? You want to use the top one? I would use the bottom just because it's simpler, basically. But you could use the top. All right. So I'm going to use the bottom and plug it in, and we're going to figure out how much you made over the 12 years. So we're going to use SN. Plug it into that and tell me what the answer is, please. We have it. $248,100. All right. Congratulations, people. You've survived Math 10. Quite the last questions I will assign to you, other than review next week, is 1 to 4 and 8 and 9, please. And that is it.